Yo, what's going on, everybody? Good morning, USA, as they say in that song from American Dad. Good morning, everybody. Happy Sunday. Hope everyone's having a good one. What's up, John? What's up, Skilly? What's up, Donald? What's up, Mr. False Prophet? How's everyone doing today? How is everyone doing today? Hope everyone's having a good day. Hope everyone is having a good day. Check my rankings real quick. I just updated everything for everyone that's on the Patreon. Rodgers is out. Josh Jacobs is out. We're going to read off all the inactives that we got recently, and then I'm going to answer the Super Chat question. Actually, I think I'll probably just answer the Super Chat question first. That probably makes the most sense. I think that makes the most sense. All right. Let's do it. Let's do it. Hope for a better Sunday than last week. Yeah, last week was brutal. Thank you, Eric, for the Super Chat. I appreciate you. I'm going to answer Eric's question. Half PPR, Eric, you still here? Half PPR. One running back and one flex. Rico, Henderson, Javonte, Williams, and Egbuka. Yeah, I mean, it's a tough question, right? Because realistically, all four of those guys basically need to be in your lineup every single week, right? That's kind of just, your team is very good. And obviously, that sucks, right? When your team is that good. Obviously, having a team that is that good is good, right? But having decisions like this sucks because it's very hard to pick, when you have, like, for instance, half PPR. I'll pull up my half PPR rankings. Right now, I have Rico Dowdle as my RB6. I have Henderson as my RB10. I have Javonte Williams as my RB11. And Emeka Egbuka is my wide receiver 7. So we're going to just pull up the matchups real quick. Make this a little bit easier to answer. It's really just, do I want to go 2 running backs or do I want to include Egbuka is really the question. So in terms of points against receivers, the Rams allow the 17th most points to wide receivers. So that's not great, not bad, just average, right? Rico is going up against, I'm just pulling everything up so I don't fucking say the wrong team. Sound like an idiot. Rico is going up against the 49ers, which is going to be the Monday Night Football game. 49ers allow the 19th most points to running backs. Then we got Henderson going up against the Bengals, which is the best matchup. But the reason why I don't have Henderson ranked a little bit higher is just strictly because I do worry about the fact that Ramondre could steal his touches. I'm not saying that he will, but he could. The Eagles are the 14th best matchup for running backs. And then who's the other guy that we had here? Oh, my computer froze. Nice. Okay. No, we're still good. Yeah. So if it's my team, man, this is so tough. I think I would go with Rico. And I think if you want to be safe, you play Egbuka. If you're looking for more upside, you go Henderson. I'm not sitting Henderson against the Bengals, so I'm going to go Rico because, again, I just think Rico is just so safe and he has such big upside. He's been very reliable for you. Egbuka has been a little bit more up and down, so I would go Rico and Henderson. Again, this is probably the toughest question I'll be asked all day, but it's going to be Rico and Henderson for me. Thank you for the super chat. Riaz, need 2 of 3 non-PPR. Genty, Aaron Jones, or Ramondre. Also, Michael Wilson or Pittman. Genty scares me versus the Browns run defense. Thank you. Love the show. Thank you. I love you too. Thank you so much to everyone that is here. It means a lot to me. Okay. So for me, the clear answer here is you have to play Genty and Aaron Jones. Look, if we watch today's game and Ramondre is, what's up, Eric? What is up, man? Did you hear what I said about your question? So for me, the reason why Ramondre just can't be started is because I think it easily could be Ramondre just does absolutely nothing right now. I don't. Okay, good. I don't think that he will do nothing, right? I think he's going to be involved enough to where in deeper leagues you could talk yourself into starting him, and you know what? Maybe he scores multiple touchdowns in a game this season. Entirely possible, but to me, the workload is such a big concern. For Genty, I get the Browns' defensive matchup is very tough, which is true, right? There's no argument to be made against that, right? There's not really many, unless you're looking at crazy advanced analytics and you can find one-off stat, right, that maybe no one else is looking at that can point you towards, the Browns defense being bad against the run, which just isn't the case. The game should be close, right? And if it's not close, the Raiders are probably winning, right? I think it's going to be a close game where the Raiders are going to be able to actually run the ball. And while sometimes the games get very out of hand and then Genty just ends up being a big fat bust because they can't run the ball, this is the kind of game where they're going to be able to run, right? This is the kind of game where they're going to be able to spam the run, right? So I would expect Genty to have a great, at least good game. And Aaron Jones is the clear lead back in Minnesota. I get that the Minnesota Vikings also don't have like the best matchup ever, but Aaron Jones is the lead back there. They're going to rely on him for as long as they can because they don't want JJ McCarthy to have to throw 40 plus times a game, right? So I'm going Genty and Aaron Jones. And then Michael Wilson or Pittman. Again, it's a standard league. And I'm kind of just looking for the touchdown, right? That's really just how it is in standard. That's how I'm always looking at things. I think the most likely guy to score out of that grouping would be Michael Wilson. Because the fact that, Jonathan Taylor's vulturing a lot of touchdowns. It seems like Michael Pittman Jr. has been pretty dicey with the touchdowns. I know Michael Wilson hasn't scored since week 2, but last week he had 18 targets. I think he's going to get 10 plus targets again. So in a standard league, I would go Michael Wilson, and I would go Genty, and I would go Aaron Jones. Thank you for the super chat. Jay Lynch, thank you for the super chat, my man. I appreciate you. Adunze, Michael Wilson, Emmanuel Wilson. Great question. Now, the biggest thing about Adunze, is Jacobs playing? No. Josh Jacobs is out. Read off the inactives real quick. Josh Jacobs pushed all week to play with his bone bruise and thigh contusion, but the Packers are cautious. They shut him down. Who else is out? Aaron Rodgers is out. We'll get more news in about an hour. That's what we've got so far. All right. So my problem with Adunze is nothing to do with Adunze, right? If you could just say Caleb's going to throw him the ball 8 times this week, Adunze is finishing as at least a top 24 wide receiver, right, guys? That's what I would think. But you can't guarantee that because his target share is all over the place. Caleb Williams, for some reason, just doesn't force feed him the ball like he should, right? Even with how great of a head coach I genuinely do believe that Ben Johnson is, I don't understand how Rome isn't getting force-fed the ball. Like, just 6 targets last week. Why is he not getting 10, right? But if you look at the last 4 games, every other week he's been really good. Last week was a bad week. Again, I don't think patterns in fantasy football are necessarily a thing, right, where every other week you have a great game. It's been the case with Vidal. Maybe it's the case with Rome, too. Emmanuel Wilson against the Vikings, he kind of just feels like, you're playing him because you don't have Jacobs and he gets you a touchdown and you're fine. That's, to me what he feels like. He doesn't feel like, Emmanuel Wilson doesn't feel like, oh, this motherfucker's scoring 30 fantasy points. And he feels like he's going to get you 15, probably, right? 12 to 15. So I would go with Dunze and Michael Wilson in your scenario. If you want to be safe and you don't want to play Dunze, then you just play Mike Wilson and Emmanuel Wilson, but the Wilson twins. But I would go with Dunze and Mike Wilson. Thanks for the super chat. Neto, thank you for the super chat. Flex a Dunze or Trey Tucker, kicker Bates or Daniel Carlson. At flex, look, I like Trey Tucker as much as the next guy. I actually think Trey Tucker, like, if you could tell me that if Geno Smith was going to be a below average quarterback, I'm not talking about above average. I'm not talking about Geno in Seattle a couple years ago. I'm just talking about like below average play. Dude, we would be talking up Trey Tucker so heavily, but I can't even guarantee that. And I think Myles Garrett's going to be all over Geno in this game. So while Adunze did just flash against Dallas, it's Dallas, right? And again, I'm not saying Trey Tucker's a bad start. He's my wide receiver 30, but Trey Tucker's very up and down. So is Adunze. I'd rather go with the guy that I believe is a way better player, and that's Adunze. And I like his matchup more. Then Bates versus Daniel Carlson. That's a good question. I'm just going to consult the rankings here. I have Carlson ranked as kicker 21. Jake Bates is kicker 4. So the answer is Jake Bates. So Dunze and Jake Bates. Thank you for the super chat. Joey Ford, thank you for the super chat. Pick 2 PPR. Aaron Jones, Kenneth Walker, Pearsall, and Myers. Also, should I bench Dak for Winston, Young, or Rudolph? Must win week. Thanks, man. Thank you for the super chat. For me, I think benching Dak. I get what you're doing, right? It's kind of one of those where you're in a must-win scenario. You're just thinking about everything. You're thinking, you know what? Maybe I meant a Dunze or Sean Tucker at the flex. Okay, not Trey Tucker. It's okay. A Dunze or Sean Tucker. I'm gonna just answer that real quick, and then I'm gonna get to Joey Ford's question. A Dunze or Sean Tucker. I would go with Dunze still. I mean, the Rams defense is the third best against the run. I like Sean Tucker, but I would still go with Dunze. Okay. Joey Ford, thank you for the super chat. So I know what you're doing, right? You're thinking, holy shit, this is bad. I need to win. We're knocking on the door of the playoffs. Dak has screwed me this amount of times this season. That's what you're thinking. I don't trust Dak because of this, right? Which I get, right? And I'm not going to sit here and act like Dak is the most trustworthy quarterback on earth. But while the Eagles defense has played well, Dak Prescott is very, very, thank you, Danny, is very, very, very good at home. This game is at home in Dallas. I understand that the Eagles defense has been playing better, but Dak has an amazing record at home against AFC East opponents. I think I read on Twitter today he hasn't lost at home to an NFC East team. I said AFC East, an NFC East team since 2017. That's a long time ago. So while I understand being worried about Dak, I think you're really galaxy braining this, right? So for me, it's definitely going to be Dak. And then at running back / flex right here, where you got 4 different guys, I have to play Aaron Jones again because I just think the team is going to have to in order to win this game, they are going to have to establish the run. They are going to spam run Aaron Jones' touchdown potential. And I think I'm going to go with Kenneth Walker as well. Such a great matchup against the Titans. Look, I understand that Aaron Jones, not Aaron Jones. I understand Kenneth Walker has been bad this season. I told a lot of people not to draft him, but you know what? It is what it is. Pick 3. Pick 3. I got you, Joey. So it's Aaron Jones, Kenneth Walker. We're doing that for sure. It was pick 3. I got you. Aaron Jones, Kenneth Walker, and then Pearsall versus Myers. No, it's all good, man. It's all good. Aaron Jones, Kenneth Walker, and then Pearsall versus Myers. I got Pearsall 31, Jacoby 34. If you want the safe guy, in my opinion, you play Myers, right? If you're like, I need 10 points, you play Myers. Simple as that. If you want more upside, you play Pearsall. Based on the fact that you're playing Kenneth Walker and Aaron Jones, I'd like to add a little bit more safety to my roster. So while I have Pearsall ranked higher, if it was my team, I would go Myers. So Aaron Jones, Kenneth Walker, and Myers. And then I'm playing Dak. I don't think you can sit him. And by the way, someone said STL Colton. Josh Jacobs is out and Bucky is out. Even guaranteed at this point. I'm going to need a big week. I appreciate it. No problem, man. No problem. Yo, Nick, I'm trying to get rid of Cortland Sutton. Trade deadline is on the 26th. Would you trade him for BTJ? No. Look, I get being mad about Cortland Sutton. I'm not going to sit here and fucking argue with you about Cortland Sutton because, look, I was a big Cortland Sutton truther. He paid off for, a bunch of weeks. Hasn't been working recently. I'm not going to sit here and complain about, or sit here and try to make like a super strong argument about Cortland Sutton. But let's be real. Does anyone in their right mind trust Brian Thomas Jr.? Anyone that has Brian Thomas Jr., I have Brian Thomas Jr., you feel like absolute dog shit when he is in your lineup. You feel so powerless. You feel like there's nothing you can do in order for it to work. You feel like you are at the mercy of BTJ. So while I don't think Sutton is this must-start guy, this guy that you love, or I guess I still think he's a great guy, but he's not the safest guy, right? And while that is true, BTJ could return and just be straight up dust. He's been dust the whole season. So I would hold Cortland Sutton. Now, I get Cortland Sutton's value is pretty low, and the problem is they don't play this week, so you're not going to get a nice bump up from a game today. So what I would do is if you're looking to trade Sutton, maybe look for someone also that's been struggling, you know? I probably wouldn't trade Sutton for like Ricky Pearsall, but I'd rather have Ricky Pearsall than BTJ, right? I'd rather have, you know, DK Metcalf, another struggling guy. You might be able to get Metcalf, right? So for me, I don't want anything to do with BTJ, if I'm being honest with you. Hunter, thank you for the super chat. Shamir, DK, or Jacoby Myers today? Great question. Look, I think Shamir DK is a great wide receiver that is stuck in a bad situation. The problem is I don't feel any ounce of confidence in playing a Tennessee Titans player until Cam Ward figures it out. I don't know when Cam Ward will figure it out. I don't know if he will. I don't think he's figuring it out this season. So you have to go Jacoby Myers with no BTJ. He should get a safe amount of looks, should get a safe amount of fantasy points. I wouldn't expect him to, blow up, but I think he'll have a good enough game for you. So Jacoby Myers for me. Thank you, B. Fred, for the super chat as well. Start Xavier Worthy or Luther Burden. A lot of people are saying they really love Luther Burden this week. I like Luther Burden too. What's up, Tira Rex? I appreciate you. I am a big fan of Burden. I actually think he's a very talented player. But I still wouldn't be shocked if DJ Moore out targets him. I sure wouldn't be shocked if he only saw like 3 targets. And maybe we end up seeing, Luther Burden get cucked again by Olamide Zacchaeus, right? Would anyone be shocked about that? Because I wouldn't. While I think Luther Burden is that guy, he's good enough, I would rather just, see one more game of it. And then I believe it. Xavier Worthy's been all over the place, right? This is projected to be the highest scoring game of the week. If there ever was going to be a game where Xavier Worthy, goes bananas, it's this game. In a tit for tat, Rock'em Sock'em Robots, high scoring affair, I got Worthy over Burden. Dak or Brissett and Kyle M or Downs. Thank you for the super chat. Full PPR. Am I stupid? Kyle Madung guy. That's who it is. I figured that one out. Dak or Brissett? Great question. So, look, Dak to me, most people are playing him. I got Jacoby at 8, Dak at 9. Jacoby has been a top 12 quarterback in 5 straight games as the starting quarterback of the Arizona Cardinals. I get a lot of people were hesitant to jump on the bandwagon. I get a lot of people were hesitant to truly trust him. But I've been talking him up for a while now. I don't think, Jacoby Brissett is a franchise quarterback, but I think you ride the hot streak. When a guy is on fire, you ride the hot streak, and that is exactly what Jacoby Brissett is on. He is on fire. I'm playing Jacoby Brissett. And then Kyle Monangai or Downs. Look, I like Kyle Monangai. Again, I think he's a very, 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 very talented runner. But ultimately, the team still has all the chips pushed the way of DeAndre Swift. Kyle Monangai is going to get a touchdown here and there, but the touches aren't trustworthy enough. I would go Downs, who has big upside up against the Chiefs. So I'm going to go Brissett and Downs. Mr. Mackenzie King, thank you for the super chat. Hi, Sensei. Arigato. One flex. Dortch, Monangai, Burden, Tootin. Great question. Now, Tootin's a very interesting player. I think Baishal Tootin could easily end up potentially getting more what's up, none of your business. Could end up getting way more work potentially going forward, right? Because you see this with the rookie running backs, right? Eventually, sometimes the pendulum swings their way and they start getting a lot of work coming out the bye week, a lot of work coming down the stretch of the season. But ETN has also played so well to the point where I don't necessarily see them going all in with Tootin. Greg Dortch, 6 for 6 for 66 yards and a touchdown last week. Do I think Greg Dortch is the most phenomenal player out there? No. Right? I'd be lying to you if I said, oh, I love Greg Dortch. Greg Dortch is like the future of the NFL. Of course he's not. But he's the 14th best matchup for wide receivers. Played well last week. What's up, Connor? So yeah, I'm definitely going Greg Dortch for me. Vitamin 4203. Tootin or Gainwell? That's a good question. I think I might have to move Tootin up my rankings. The more and more we talk about him. The next rankings update will be at 12-ish once we end up seeing the inactives. I'm going to move Tootin up. So, yeah, I'd go Tootin over Gainwell again because Gainwell just doesn't appear to be a big part of the picture when Jaylen Warren is healthy, right? He just doesn't seem to be. Is Jaylen Warren in, by the way? We got to look that up. Jaylen Warren, Roto-World. Just want to make sure. I was out all day yesterday, so I wasn't reading as much of the news I would like. Yeah, I figured he was playing. He is playing. So, with him in, it's like they want Jaylen Warren to be the guy. Gainwell's a good handcuff, right? If Jaylen Warren was to miss, you would want Gainwell in your lineup. But Tootin, you can start whether, ETN is in or not. Obviously, you'd prefer ETN to be out if that was the scenario. But I would go, personally, Tootin over Gainwell. Leap Link, AFF, thank you for the super chat. RB2, Judkins, K9, Emmanuel Wilson. Gawk. What's up, Jason? Yeah, I would go, look, I understand Judkins is all over the place. But again, this is a game where I expect it to be close. A lot of Browns games are not close. A lot of Browns games are the Browns getting taken out back, taken to the cleaners, getting smashed, right? And then, Judkins is kind of just screwed, right? This game against the Raiders feels competitive. So I would go Judkins. I have them ranked Judkins, Wilson, then Kenneth Walker. If you want to save 10 points, you just play Wilson. He's going to get you 10 points. I would go with Judkins, though, because, again, it's going to be a close matchup. They should be able to run. And, Judkins is the running back on the team. He should get 20-plus touches. Nick Turman, thank you for the super chat. Flex, Brock Wright, Brenton Strange, Watson, tight end premium. Great question. Brock Wright got absolutely fed without Laporta. Absolutely fed. It is, though, just a one-game sample size. So, that is not something you would feel 100% optimistic taking it to the bank. Also, while Wright had a million targets, he had just 2 receptions on 7 targets for 8 yards. So, while I do think, if Brock Wright could give us a good game here, let's just look at the matchup against the Giants. 22nd best matchup for tight ends. I think I would just go with Christian Watson, even though it is tight end premium. Tight end premium gets a lot of people a little bit too overzealous for a guy like Brock Wright or Brenton. I just don't trust Brenton Strange, if I'm being honest with you. I think I'm going to go Watson. I think Watson could score 30 fantasy points. I don't think any of these guys, even in tight end premium, could come close to that. So I'm going Watson. Ignacio, what is up? Thank you for the super chat. Judy or Booty or Parker Washington? Pick Dose. Great question. Now, for me, I am probably the most notorious Jerry Judy hater of all time. I am one of the biggest Jerry Judy, haters. I just am. I don't hate him as a guy. I don't know him. But in the NFL, I've never seemed to. He's just never really been a guy that I liked. What I will say, though, if there ever was a game for Judy to go crazy, it would be with Shadur playing, finally good quarterback. Maybe he's a good quarterback or at least decent. And it would be up against the Raiders. Butte has been very reliable, and he faces the Bengals. I would go Butte. Then Parker Washington versus Judy. I have Judy 39. I have Parker Washington 40. If you ought to be safe, you play Parker Washington. He should be fine. Judy, much more all over the place. I would lean with Judy, though. Great matchup against the Raiders. So I'm going Judy and Butte. The real Mike Mills, thank you for the super chat. Judkins, Chase, or Brees, Berg, or Strange? Great question. I get the Eagles' defense has been suffocating. I get the Eagles' defense has been great, and especially more so for a lot of people because, not everyone's watching every Eagles game, right? Not everyone watches every single team play, but most people are watching Sunday Night Football. They're watching Monday Night Football, and they've seen the Eagles in back-to-back weeks in prime time play amazing defense. And that definitely sticks, especially because, When I'm watching football, I'm watching 4 games on one TV, red zone on the other TV. And sometimes I'll whip out the laptop, watch another game on my computer, right? It's hard to just lock in on, certain defensive plays. The Eagles, I've seen them a lot this season in prime time. Ever since the bye week, they've looked incredible defensively. Jalen Phillips is a great piece on that team. But what I will tell you is, sitting Jake Ferguson while the matchup is rough will have you sleeping terrible because Brenton Strange, in all reality, how many targets would we expect him to get? 4? 5? He just came back. I don't know if I trust Strange, so I'm going Ferg. And then Judkins, Chase, or Brees. It's tough, man. A lot of people are coming after me for my ranking of Chase Brown. I saw there was like a whole thread in my running back rankings video. I think there was like 20 comments. People going back and forth on Chase Brown. Chase Brown has been so good over the last 2 weeks, but Chase Brown is such a tough matchup. What do we think about this? And my opinion is, I love Chase Brown. I think Chase Brown is very talented, and I like Chase Brown in the summer. They don't have Jamar Chase, so you should see more dump offs to Chase Brown, but they don't have Joe Burrow. They have Flacco again. And that sucks. And the matchup is also terrible. But what I will tell you is, Chase Brown would still be the guy I have the ranked second. I have Judkins ranked higher just because, again, I think they're going to be able to spam run the ball. I would go Judkins. Sportsman, thank you for the super chat. Judkins, Etienne, Genty, Emmanuel Wilson, and Jay Jettas and Pittman, Pearsall, Wandale, Flowers. Great question. Great question. Great question. One second, guys. Judkins, Etienne, Genty, Emmanuel Wilson. Okay. 1 wide receiver, 2 running backs, 1 flex. That's a great question. Josh Jacobs still a game time decision. He's out. He's out, Daniel. He is out. Yeah, none of your business. I agree with you. I think he's looked way better. Okay. 1 wide receiver, 2 running backs, 1 flex. I'm locking in. That's why I, lean forward. Judkins, Etienne, Genty, Emmanuel Wilson. Okay. At running back, I don't think you can sit Etienne. I'm going to be honest. I don't think Etienne is sittable. I think you got to start him. 3 straight great games out of Etienne. Then it becomes a question. It becomes a much bigger question between Genty, Judkins, and Emmanuel Wilson. I think the safest bet is you just want to get, 12 plus points. You play Emmanuel Wilson. He should score. I wouldn't expect Emmanuel Wilson to go out there and drop 25 points. I just wouldn't. I don't think anyone should expect that. But he should be safe. Genty and Judkins, they're fucking all over the place. They are so all over the place. It's very risky, but I'm leaning with Judkins again because the matchup against the Raiders is good, and it's going to be a close game where they should be able to run the ball. So, Judkins and Etienne. At wide receiver, man, you're not sitting Justin Jefferson. You're not. I get, JJ McCarthy sucks, Nick. Yeah, I agree. You don't have to fucking tell me. I agree. But I am not playing. I'm not sitting Justin Jefferson. So you got to play Justin Jefferson. And then at flex, I'm not sitting Pittman. I understand it's a bad matchup, but I'm not sitting Pittman. Pittman has been cracked. You can't sit Pittman. The upside is way too significant. Way, way, way too significant in such a high-scoring game. I don't really want to play Pearsall this week, if I'm being honest with you. Flowers and Wandale are fine. But the upside for Pittman is way too significant. I'm going to play Judkins, Etienne, Jay Jettas, and Pittman. Just Sadi. Thank you for the super chat. Daniel Jones or Bryce Young. Running back 1 and RB2, and then wide receiver 1 and flex. Okay. Look, I am a Bryce Young truther. If anyone that was watching videos in the summer, I love Bryce Young. I actually think Bryce Young still has it. But what I will say is, one great game this year. He's had 3 games inside the top 12. He has followed up 2 of those games where he just sucked right after. Last time he was top 12 quarterback was last week. He has been no problem, Mike. He has been not Mike, sportsman. Like, sorry. He has fucked it up every single time after. So while I like Bryce Young, I would play Daniel Jones. He's just much safer. So Daniel Jones for me. Then at running back, Dowdle has to start. You have to play Dowdle. He's been top 15 running back every single week as the Arizona Cardinals, as the Carolina Panthers RB1. He's been very safe. You're playing him. Then Judkins versus Chase Brown. I've got Judkins 16, Chase Brown 18. Again, the matchup is just too rough for me for Chase Brown. I believe in Judkins. So Judkins, Dowdle, Daniel Jones, Judkins, Dowdle. You got McMillan in, and then you want Jacoby or Darnell Mooney. I would go Darnell Mooney just strictly off targets. And then at the flex, I would go Chase Brown, if that's possible. Unless you're asking about a different league. This is all the same league, I'm just going to assume. So it's Daniel Jones. It's going to be Dowdle and Judkins. It's going to be Darnell Mooney, McMillan, and it's going to be Chase Brown. That's your answer there. Check me out. Xbox, 4. Thank you for the super chat. Full PPR, Michael Wilson or Emmanuel Wilson. The Wilson debate. The great Wilson debate. Now, I think Emmanuel Wilson is safer. Because I think it's basically a shoo-in that Emmanuel Wilson ends up scoring. But I do not see Emmanuel Wilson going out there and scoring. I don't see Emmanuel Wilson going out there and scoring 25 plus fantasy points, 30 plus fantasy points. I just don't see it. Not in that matchup. I could see Michael Wilson doing that. So I would go with Michael Wilson. Blackout, thank you for the super chat. I'm 10-1 and got a first round bye. Round of applause. Am I doing too much if I trade a Meke and Chase Brown for Joe Burrow and Amon-Ra? I have CMC, Hendo, Judkins, and Benson. Yeah. You are doing too much. Unless your wide receiver, you're losing Igbuka. And look, like, unless your quarterback sucks ass and you really feel like you need Burrow, I'm going to be honest with you guys. If the Bengals lose today, and I do think Burrow will return, right? The Bengals are going to lose today. The Bengals will be 3-8. 3-8. After this week, there is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 games left. 9-8 possible if they win every game. In their next games, they face the Ravens, the Bills, the Ravens again, the Dolphins. Could be an easy one for them, right? The Cardinals and the Browns. Do we think they're winning every game? I don't. Why would they force Joe Burrow back? I just don't get it. I think they will do it, but I don't get it. Doesn't make any sense. You think? Does anyone even think 9-8 will get you into the playoffs in the AFC? I don't know. I mean, as a Dolphins fan, I'm expecting the only way we could possibly make the playoffs is if we win out. I don't think that's going to happen. I'm just speaking in generality. I think that's very, very risky. And I think you are overthinking it. I think you're galaxy braiding it. You've gotten so far with your team. You don't want to switch things up. You don't want to switch up the locker room of your metaphorical team. I just don't think that's worth it. Now, if it was Amon-Ra plus another running back, Amon-Ra plus another receiver, I would do it. Or I'd be fine doing it. But I don't want anything to do with Burrow. So I would not do that. Jeremy, thank you for the super chat. Pick one defense, one tight end, one running back, 4 wide receivers. Great question. Okay. All right. Help. I got you, Jeremy. Thank you for the super chat. Okay. Let's do the defense question first because that's normally the easiest thing to do. Because there's not like 8,000 talking points where I'm like going back and forth through a million different guys. Pause. All right. Ravens versus the Raiders. I got the Ravens at 2, the Raiders at 6. So we're going Ravens. We're typing this one out because this is a juicy question. Okay, Ravens. We got the Ravens. That was easy. Like that old Staples button. Okay. One tight end, Andrews or Henry. If you want to be safe, you play Andrews. I'm going Henry. Way too good of a matchup. You got to play Henry. Okay. I'm running back. Bam or Kenneth Walker. We're going to go Walker just because I don't really trust Walker. Trust him more than I trust Bam, though. And he's got a great matchup. And I think they might start to actually. I think they might have realized they need to actually give him the ball, guys. I think they might have figured that out. Real shocker. Oh my God, we need to give the ball more to fucking Kenneth Walker. Geniuses. They figured it out. Okay. So we're gonna go Ravens, Henry, Kenneth Walker. You're not sitting Rashee Rice. Just like you're not sitting Justin Jefferson. Just like you're not sitting Pickens. And then it's AJ Brown versus Dunze, and that is a fucking toss-up. Yeah, none of your business. And until they just give Charbonnet 7 touchdowns today, right? That's just how it goes. So yeah, Ravens, Henry, Kenneth Walker, Rice, Justin Jefferson, Pickens, and then I think I'd go AJ Brown against Dallas. It is close. I'd go AJB. Ravens, Henry, Kenneth Walker, Rice, Jefferson, Pickens, AJ Brown. Thank you for the super chat. Have Pitts, Walker, and Sharp starting. Do I drop Pitts for Bam and start Ferguson? Like Pitts more this week, but starting K9 and Sharp feels risky. Yeah. LA Knight style. I agree with you. I would do that. Now, a lot of people like Pitts this week, rightfully so, right? No Drake London, Kirk Cousins fed him against the Dolphins, but again, if they're being real, right? If what I'm reading is true, then I think Kenneth Walker might actually become the true RB1 on this team. Do I truly believe that? No. Right? Of course not. I think you would be crazy. Thank you, Spock, for answering all these questions, by the way. You would be crazy if you truly believe that with 100% certainty. But for me, I'm going Walker. I'm dropping Pitts because I would just play Ferguson anyways over Pitts just because I think Ferguson's way better of a player. And I'm playing Bam. I trust Bam way more than Charbonnet. So I agree with your thought process. That makes perfect sense. I think starting both Seattle running backs is just kind of counterintuitive, in my opinion. Just kind of counterintuitive. Actives today include Kenneth Walker, Ramondre Stevenson, Xavier Worthy. Inactives, Josh Jacobs, Matthew Golden, Rashad Bateman, Aaron Rodgers so far. So yeah, I would drop Pitts for Bam and start Ferg. That makes perfect sense. Thank you for the super chat. Randall, thank you for the super chat. Pick 2. Pickens, Diggs, McMillan, and 1 RB, Javonte, Henderson, or ETN. Fuck. That's a good question. It's a juicy question. That's a great question. The greatest question. I like that question. The greatest question. All right. Let's go Pickens, Diggs, McMillan, Javonte Williams, Henderson, ETN. Man. Definitely going Diggs. Definitely going to go with Diggs. I like Diggs a lot against the Bengals defense. So definitely going to go Diggs. Then Pickens versus McMillan. I got McMillan 14, Pickens 16. Feel better about McMillan's matchup, so I'd go McMillan. It is close. Hopefully Bryce Young plays decent again. Because look, I've said this all year. If Bryce Young plays halfway decent, Hetero McMillan is a league winner. If Bryce Young turns back into a pumpkin, so will Hetero McMillan. So I'm going Diggs and McMillan. And then at running back, this is another great question. Javonte, Henderson, or ETN? I got Henderson 8. I got Javonte 6. I got ETN 12. All guys you want to start. I think, I'm going to be honest with you, I think gun to the head, I would play, if it's my fantasy team, I think I'm going to move Henderson above Javonte. I would go Henderson. If you want to be safe, you just play, I think ETN's the safest bet. I think Henderson's the riskiest bet. If you want to be safe, you play ETN. You want to be risky, you play Henderson. I'm going Henderson. So we're going to go Pickens, I mean, we're going to go Diggs, McMillan, Henderson. Daniel, thank you for the super chat. Pearsall, Xavier Worthy at the wide receiver 3. Theo Johnson, Roger at the flex. Full PPR. Great question. If this was Jackson Dart, it'd be easy Theo Johnson. The answer is still Theo Johnson, though. Because, look, Algier, just his touches just make no sense. I could see Algier getting 2 carries. I could see him getting 15 carries. Literally doesn't fucking matter. So I would go Theo Johnson. And then Worthy or Pearsall. Again, if there ever was a matchup, thank you, Tara, where Worthy was to explode, it would be the back and forth game that should be the Colts versus the Chiefs. It has the highest Vegas total over under. Obviously, is Vegas always right? Of course not, but it's a good thing to look at. I would go Worthy. And again, Pearsall, if Pearsall went out there last week and had 7 catches, yeah, or 5 catches, no duh, it's gonna be Pearsall. I think they're gonna kind of just ease him in. Just the tip approach. I'm going Xavier Worthy. I'm going Theo. Between the two Johnsons, pause. No, I'm just kidding. Just fucking with you, Justice. Thank you for the super chat. Between the two Johnsons, who would you take this week and rest of the season? Thank you for all of your advice, and I love the vids. I love you too. Thank you so much. Love you long time. Love all you guys. I appreciate every single person in the chat. Thank you guys so much. Still crazy to me. I know this sounds like a little lame, but it's crazy to me that so many people watch. It really is. Between the two Johnsons, Theo and Jawan, who would you take this week and rest of the season? Rest of season, I think I would prefer Theo Johnson. I think Jawan Johnson weekly might be way safer, though. I think if we're talking about safety rest of the season, I'd prefer Jawan. I'm going to adjust my tight end rankings as we're talking. I think, man, Jawan Johnson I think it's the worst matchup for tight ends, right? Falcons are the 3rd worst matchup. I think I'd go Theo this week. And I think rest of season, I would prefer Jawan just because I think he's safer. Like Theo, he could be a massive bust any given game. Jawan, much less likely for that to happen. But this week, I'm going to go Theo. I just, again, the matchup for Jawan is just so bad. So I'd prefer Theo this week, Jawan rest of season. Big Johnson, Little Johnson. Good morning, Notorious. Thank you, Raymond. Good morning to you as well. Good morning, everyone in the chat. Hope you guys are all having a great Sunday so far. And just so you guys know, I don't only answer the super chat questions. They just get priority. There are 3 more super chats on the dock. If there's no more, we get to the regular questions. Appreciate all you guys. Henderson or Stevenson? Flex, Emmanuel Wilson or Myers or Pearsall? Patriots defense or Browns? Mike Vrabel better not start Stevenson. Let's go Patriots. I don't think, look, you're a Patriots fan, so you know I'm not a Patriots fan. I'm a Dolphins fan, obviously, right? But we all know damn well, deep down, Mike Vrabel I think he just hates Henderson. Deep down, I think he does. Now, maybe just maybe, now Henderson's the guy. I think he should be. I think he should be. Emmanuel Wilson, Caleb. Deep down, I think that Henderson should be the guy. If I am Mike Vrabel, if I'm this big, juicy man, pause. I said that to be a little bit weird. If I was Mike Vrabel, I would be feeding Henderson. Be feeding him like he was stuck on a desert island and he hasn't eaten in a month. Okay? Last thing he ate was a fucking coconut he cut down from the tree. Okay? I would be feeding him. I don't know if that will happen. But, you have to play Henderson. You are not sitting Henderson. So you're playing Henderson. You cannot sit him. You have to play him. The matchup is so great, too. Emmanuel Wilson or Myers or Pearsall. Again, if the team didn't just, ease in Pearsall, if they wanted to go, full on in, Pearsall would be an easy answer. But it feels like they're kind of just teasing us, giving us a little bit. And then eventually you're going to get Pearsall back to what we saw earlier on the season. I would go Wilson. And then Patriots or Browns defense? That's a great question. Patriots versus the Browns. I got the Browns 3, and I got the Patriots at 7. I think they're both respectable defenses this week, but I definitely do prefer the Browns. I just think anytime you go up against Geno Smith, it's red panty night, right? It's just the greatest day on earth. So we're gonna go Browns. We're gonna go Emmanuel Wilson, and we're gonna go with Travion Henderson. Taco beef, dude. I'm hungry. Why you gotta make your picture a taco? Okay, just mess with you. Lamar or Brissett? Look, I am the biggest Brissett glazer of all time. I actually am not the biggest Brissett glazer because I actually don't think Brissett's good, but I do glaze him on the daily on the videos because he's great. Lamar or Brissett? I don't think you sit Lamar. And the reason behind this is you drafted Lamar as high as you did. And I get the draft doesn't fucking matter in week 12, but the problem is when you go to sleep tonight and you played Brissett over Lamar and Lamar dropped a 40 bomb on the Jets and you go to sleep, you're going to be tossing and turning. You're going to have a fucking nightmare, the KSI style about it. You're going to be sleeping. You're not going to be able to sleep, okay? And I'm playing Lamar. I get Lamar has not been the most consistent, but the Jets are the kind of matchup that will revive someone, okay? They'll hit him with a quick revive. It's the 11th best matchup for quarterbacks. I know Lamar sucked ass against the Browns. We're talking about the Jets, not the Browns. Defense, I'm going Lamar. BX Kings, thank you for the super chat. Olave, Mike Wilson, Emeka Egbuka, pick 2. See, this is another question where, you're damned if you do, you're damned if you don't. Why? Because for most people, these are 3 guys that are must starts. Right? Olave is going up against Atlanta, dude. Atlanta is all over the fucking place. I could see Kirk Cousins going bananas in this game. I could see them getting destroyed. The 16th best matchup for wide receivers. Olave has been very consistent. I think Olave had a down game recently. I think his last game before the bye was a down one, if I could remember correctly. That's a lie. It was his best game. It was the week before that. We're only at 4 points. Sorry. 9 points, I mean. He was 5 of 8 for 104 yards and a tug. Do I think Tyler Shuck is really, 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 really the answer? No. But Olave has been great when it's Shuck, when it's Rattler. I'm going Olave. And Emeka Egbuka or Michael Wilson. I'm not sitting Egbuka. It's really that answer. It's really that safe. I'm starting Egbuka every single fucking week. Not really thinking about it. Playing Egbuka. You can't sit Egbuka. I'm going Egbuka and Olave. Sacks boy. Thank you for the super chat. 5 to 6 or 5 to 6. That's definitely what the guy meant, right? 5 to 6. 5 and 6. Trade Rashee Rice for Kyron Williams. Running backs, you have Jacobs, Hampton, White, and Spears. Oh, man. I think you have to. I think you have to. I think you have to. Man, but Hampton should be back after the bye. But I guess if you're doing the trade now, you have to win this week. It sucks because you can start 3 wide receivers every week. But I think you have to do it. I think you have to do it because you need the running back. It's really that simple. You need the fucking running back. You don't even have Jacobs this week. Yeah, you have to do it. You have to do it. So yeah, I'm doing it. I'm getting Kyron Williams. I hate in most scenarios I would never do that, but in this scenario you have to. So yeah, I'm gonna do that. You're gonna go get Kyron. Araf, thank you for the super chat. Thank you for the super chat. Unless you need me to also pick your lineup, because if you need me to pick your lineup too, I'm gonna just do that real quick. You're gonna do Kyron. You're gonna play Rashad White. You're gonna play Jefferson. You're gonna play Buka. And then Watson. and then Spears. There you go. A-Rap, thank you for the super chat. 2 running backs, 1 wide receiver, 1 flex. ETN, Jalen Warren, Henderson, Michael Wilson, Devontae, Goddard. Pick 3. Okay, we'll do the first question first. I'm going to type these out too. 2 running backs, 1 wide receiver, 1 flex. ETN is a must start. Hendo's a must start. And then I'm going Michael Wilson. And then Warren. Okay, so ETN, top 15-ish running back, 3 straight games. You're not sitting him. Henderson, riding way too hot. Wet dream matchup. I know Ramondre concerns everyone. He concerns me too. You're not sitting him. And then Michael Wilson, he had 18 fucking targets last week. I don't think that's going to happen again, but he should get 10. And then for Warren, he's just way better of a bet than Devontae or Goddard. Then pick 3. So the pick 3 is going to be, you got to play Javonte, you got to play Olave, and then I'm playing Henderson. And Adunze is going to get the shaft. I like, basically, in your second question, I like basically all the options. But what's that? All right. So the reason why Swift is on the bench, again, I love Swift this week. It's just like the touchdown vulture concerns. And the reason why Dunze would be on the bench is just because I trust the other guys more. It's really, really that much. So for the first question, it's ETN, Michael Wilson, Henderson, Warren. At your pick 3 would be Javonte, it would be Olave, and it would be Henderson. Thank you for the super chat. All right, Tootin, Emmanuel Wilson. Great question. Great question. Yeah, I'm going Emmanuel Wilson just because, again, while I don't think that Emmanuel Wilson is going to score 20 plus fantasy points, I really don't think it. I don't think he's going to. I don't think he's going to smash. I do think he's a layup, right? He's the RB1 in an offense that loves to run the ball in the red zone. He's the RB1 in an offense that's going to be able to move the ball, that's going to be able to be in control, and they're going to be able to run a lot. Do I think Emmanuel Wilson is Josh Jacobs? No. Do I think that Emmanuel Wilson has the same upside as Josh Jacobs? Unless he scores 2+ touchdowns, no. I think Josh Jacobs is way better than Emmanuel Wilson. And I don't love the matchup against the Vikings, but I think he will score. And I think it will look easy because once they get to the red zone, they can just spam run it with him 3 different times. They have a great situation for him. Tootin, on the other hand, that game could be a barn burner, back and forth game, and Tootin might not get as lucky to score the touchdown. So, Caleb, for me, it's Emmanuel Wilson. Juwan Johnson, Kyle Pitts, Andre Yoshivas in another league. Pittman, Judkins, Michael Wilson. Great question. All right, we're going to go Kyle Pitts for the first question. And we are going to go Juwan Johnson. If it was Joe Burrow, I would be talking up Andre Yoshivas. I would be giving him the Hawk Tua special. I would hit him with the Gawk 9000 special. So, with that said, I would go with Kyle Pitts. Juwan or Pitts? I'd prefer Pitts over Juwan. I think Andre Yoshivas is a good receiver. And I think Flacco's a fine quarterback. But again, it's against the Patriots defense. And that really scares me. Juwan should get you 10 points. Kyle Pitts should get you 10 plus points. I think Yoshivas might have the high. I actually think Pitts probably has the highest upside out of those 3. So I would go and sit the receiver. As much as I hate flexing tight ends, that's what I would do. And then Pittman, Judkins, Michael Wilson. I would give Judkins the bench. While I love his matchup, Judkins to me would be the guy on the bench. So, yeah. Again, I like Judkins a lot, and I think they're going to be able to run the ball a ton because, again, it's a close game, realistically, right? Does anyone think the Raiders are going to blow out the Browns? No, I don't think so. So, that's kind of just my opinion on things. I would be shocked if it was a complete and utter blowout. So that's how I feel. I like Judkins a lot, but I'm not sitting Pittman in what's going to be the high scoring game of the week, and I'm not sitting Michael Wilson, who just scored that many points. So Judkins is the sit, and then Yoshi Voss is the sit in the other one. Otten or Barner? Great question, Tyler. Thank you so much for the super chat. So Godwin coming back definitely does throw a wrench into things. The problem with Godwin is even while he's back, let's be real. Would anyone feel confident in saying Godwin is going to get a lot of targets this week? Would anyone feel confident thinking that? Because I don't, right? I think they're going to use, kind of like with Ricky Pearsall, right? How we saw, slow push of involvement. And I'm not saying Godwin is washed, right? Like, I'm not going to come here and say that because I still think Godwin deep down has it, but he's older. He's coming off an injury, and he didn't look great when he was playing. I think if you're holding Godwin on your bench, go right ahead. You've fucking been holding him for so long, you might as well just keep him there. He will not catch one pass. That's not crazy to say, Hanover. That is not crazy to say. I think he'll get like 3 targets. I think it'll be like Ricky last week. And Godwin's a huge name value too. Like, I bet you there's people that are willing to buy Godwin right now for someone that you may actually be able to start. So I would go with Otten. AJ Barner, to me, this is very easy to say. I could see Barner with 12 targets today. 12. Which I know is a very high number. I could see him with 12 targets. You could fast forward to the end of the game, he might have 0, right? And that's crazy to say, but it's true. Otten is very involved without Mike Evans. I know Godwin coming back, maybe Godwin gets an extra, 2-3 targets that maybe could have gone to Otten, but Otten's the guy. He has touchdown upside. Baker, they have to win this game. It's going to be high scoring, you would think. I got Otten. Thank you, Harley Ryder, my man. What's up? I'm cooked this week, but Monty or Emmanuel Wilson for my flex. Good luck, everyone. Good luck to everyone as well. I appreciate you for the super chat, my man. Thank you so much, Harley. And just so you guys know, Harley Ryder is his real name. As crazy as it may sound, that is his real name. We verified this a few weeks ago. Because that name is very cool. My name, I like my name, obviously, but, All right. Sorry, I was in deep thought about your question. I would go Emmanuel Wilson. Look, if we were getting David Montgomery from 2 years ago, we'd be talking about Montgomery against the Giants. Ooh. Top 5 running back. Not really, but we'd be talking about high end RB2. We love it, but that's not the scenario we are in. We are in the scenario where this is very much Gibbs' backfield, and while Dan Campbell continues to really, give the Sukulamink special to Montgomery in the press conferences and all this, when do we ever see that? When do we ever see that? So while I like Montgomery, and while I've been a Montgomery guy since he was in Chi-Town, I'm going to Emmanuel Wilson because, again, I just think Emmanuel Wilson's very safe. Like, he just feels like a nice layup. Get you your 10-plus points, nice layup. Could score you 18 points. I just don't think he's having that big day. I don't think Monty's having a big day either, so I'd just rather go with Emmanuel Wilson. I think if you compare the two, the guy more likely to have the way bigger game would be Emmanuel Wilson. Favorite Twitch streamer, someone asked? It's Los Polos. He doesn't stream on Twitch anymore. He streams on Kick, but he is the only streamer that I watch. That actually streams games. Like, I'll listen to people stream about like DFS or betting and stuff, fantasy football, but like when I'm not streaming. But yeah, I would go Emmanuel Wilson. Stans Krilla, thank you for the super chat. Mr. Nick, what's up, man? Metcalf, Hunt, Goddard, Kittle is the tight end. Great question. Man, guys, what are we all thinking about Metcalf right now? It's looking so bad for Metcalf. Like, it's looking rough. They've got Mason Rudolph, the red-nosed reindeer. They don't got Rodgers. Metcalf has been down terrible. But the one problem with Metcalf is, like, the one problem with talking down on him is Metcalf is still really fucking good, right? Regardless of what we think about, the offense and his usage, you cannot deny the talent. It's basically like what I say about Kenneth Walker all year. Kenneth Walker is an amazing running back, or at least an above average running back that is stuck in a shitty situation, right? DK Metcalf is the same thing. Metcalf and AJ Brown were on both on my avoid list this year. I loved Metcalf this year. I hated AJ Brown. Oh, thank you. God miss. That's awesome. Thank you. Yeah, I would go. Oh man, the matchup for Metcalf is so good. Didn't Metcalf look good with Rudolph last week? What were stats? I don't think his stats were that good last week. I mean, look, Rudolph is fine. I'm not saying Rudolph isn't fine, but just Metcalf has been down bad. He's 5 of 8 for 49 yards. Like, he'll be fine. Dude, if Hunt, I would love to answer this question as Kareem Hunt. I think that might be the answer. The Colts matchup isn't the best, but I'm going to go Kareem Hunt. I just think Kareem Hunt's likely to score, so I'm going to go Kareem Hunt. Goddard's fine, but it would be between Metcalf and Hunt. I'd go Hunt. You better not start Metcalf versus my Bears. Isn't what's his name is out though? Their best corner is out for the Bears. Whose name is escaping me. And then people be like, Nick, you don't know ball because you can't remember the fucking guy's name, even though I know he's out. And we're talking about a million different things. I'd go Hunt. Alexis, thank you for the super chat. Alexis. Gainwell, Rashad White, or Bam. I'd go Bam. Great question. Strictly because there's no Trey Benson. I would expect. I love you, Sock. I know you meant Spock. That's funny. Bam Knight has touchdown upside. I don't love Bam Knight. You guys remember a couple weeks ago up against Dallas, dude, I was fucking going to bat for Bam Knight. I was talking up Bam Knight like he was the second coming of fucking Bo Jackson. I was giving him all the hype, and it crashed and burned, right? Anyone that played him, witnessed in 4K live on was that Thursday Night Football? It might have been Monday Night Football, or Sunday Night Football. I don't remember. It was a night game, and I was watching it, and it was bad. It was a crash and burn scenario. But Gainwell is not even a shoo-in to get 5 touches. Rashad White has been dethroned by Sean Tucker, and he has a brutal matchup. Sean Tucker, the team has said Sean Tucker is going to get 1 million touches. Do we believe that? I don't know. But that's just the case. So Bam Knight has the most touchdown upside. Whether the Cardinals look good in this game to start off doesn't matter, because he just always somehow always, the team they're like the Jaguars with Blake Bortles, right? They could be getting their backs blown out all game long, getting walked like a dog. And by the end of the game, Brissett has a good game. They end up close. That's kind of how I feel. Yeah, that's kind of how I feel. I would just prefer Bam Knight because I think he's the most likely of those guys to score. And when Trey Benson returns, Bam Knight's going to fall back into irrelevancy, but not this week. Not this week. Doughboy. Thank you for the super chat. Tracy, Gainwell, Adonai, Mitchell, Dortch, Yoshi Voss. Look, I actually think Adonai Mitchell is very interesting this week. I'm not saying to actually start him in your fantasy league, but just speaking in generalities, I think if you're in like a super deep league, 14 plus team league, and you have like some bench pieces that you don't like, and if Adonai Mitchell's available, I think Adonai Mitchell is actually worthy of an ad to put on your bench. Because if Tyrod Taylor is actually just halfway decent, I'm not asking for Tyrod Taylor to turn into fucking Patrick Mahomes or something. If he is just halfway decent, you should be able to get a good enough of a game where, Adonai Mitchell is the clear wide receiver 1. He could actually be fantasy value. be fantasy value. He could have fantasy value. I'm not saying that he will, but he could. So, in my opinion, I think he's worthy of a stash. I would not feel comfortable though playing him ultimately. So, he would not be the answer to this question. I'm going with Tracy. I know it's a split share between him and Singletary, and I know that's so fucking annoying. Because a lot of us, myself included, thought that Tracy would be the clear guy because realistically, Singletary's not that good. But the team clearly thinks so. They're going to keep giving Singletary the ball. But Tracy is a good pass catcher out of the backfield. So I would lean with Tracy. And then I would go with Dortch just because, again, this is an offense of the Cardinals that they could be getting smoked, right? They've got waxed in back-to-back games. Wax on, wax off. And still, they continue to produce for fantasy. So while I don't think Greg Dortch is like an elite player, and I would be lying straight to your face if I told you that I thought Greg Dortch was like an elite player, he's good enough. Okay, he is good enough. So I would go Tracy and I would go Dortch. Ben, thank you for the super chat. Start 2, Dak, Caleb Baker, Monty, or Alec Pierce. Great question. Alec Pierce for me, he's not a must start running back, but I trust him way more than I trust Montgomery. David Montgomery, again, he's fine if you're just good with accepting mediocrity. And what I mean by that is you're kind of just accepting he's going to get you 10 to 12 points. He could score less, but that's probably what he's going to get you. And you're fine with that. Right? Whereas Alec Pierce might be a bust, but Alec Pierce also has the upside to be a huge winner. And while the matchup is tough, I am much more interested in taking a shot on the upside than I am in kind of just rolling over and taking the safe bet, which is Monty. So Alec Pierce for me. Dak, Caleb, or Baker. Ooh, that's a good one. Dak, Caleb, or Baker. I would go Dak and Baker. I got Dak 9, Baker 12, Caleb 13. So it's not like, super obvious, but that is, it not super obvious, I guess. It's not super clear, to have 2 of those guys over 3, but Dak and Baker for me and Alec Pierce. Thank you for the super chat, Carlos. Dak or Brissett, Aaron Jones or Adunze. Thank you, Nick. No problem. I appreciate you. Thank you for the super chat. All right, I gotta put Mason Rudolph the red-nosed reindeer. Oh no, he already is my rankings. Okay. Rudolph the red-nosed reindeer had a very shiny nose. All right. So Dak or Brissett? Brissett for me. Again, Brissett's been a top 12 quarterback in 5 straight games, and he has a great matchup. It's Brissett. All right. And then Adunze or Aaron Jones. I'm going Adunze. Again, I know Adunze is very risky. I know Adunze is not very safe, but I trust Rome Adunze significantly more than I trust Aaron Jones, if I'm being honest with you. That's a funny comment. Good luck, everybody, except for my league competitors. That's funny. Yeah, I'd go Brissett and I'd go Adunze. Again, I don't really see Aaron Jones having that big splash game. I could see Adunze doing it, so I'm going Brissett and Adunze. Freddie, thank you for the super chat. Pick 3 in a standard league. Genti, Javonte Williams, Rico, Hendo. Oh, man. Not again. That's a tough question. Very, very tough question. Gun to the head. Again, in standard, we're just looking for touchdowns. I think the 3 most likely guys to score would be Javonte Williams, Rico, and Henderson. That's how I look at it in standard. And I think that's how everyone should be looking at it in standard. Basically, none of the, obviously the catches don't really matter. Of course, getting catches is good, right? If you can bust one off for a touchdown or big gain, but just nowhere near as important. I would go Javonte Williams. I would go with Rico and Hendo. I think those are the 3 guys most likely to score. And plus, they would just be the highest in my rankings in general. I think they'll get the most yards, too. And they feel way safer than Genti, too. So, Javonte, Rico, and Henderson for me. That was it is a hard question because those are great names. Those are 4 great names. But Genti's the clear odd man out, in my opinion. What's up, bro? Chris Rodriguez is a stash or Blake Corum. So the way that I would look at that rise above everything is pretty simple. Do you want when you're looking at a stash, are you looking at a stash that is like, hey, I want a guy that, if you want a guy that you're never going to play, but if, Kyron gets hurt, you would have to play Blake Corum. Do you want that? Or do you want, hey, I want a guy that I could, in a pickle, start? Because to me, if you're looking at at your stash as, hey, if I'm in a pickle, I can start this guy. The answer to me would be, if you're looking for a guy you could start, would be C-Rod. Because I think C-Rod in, if it's doomsday scenario, like the new Avengers movie, and you need to start a guy, I think Chris Rodriguez is startable. Whereas I don't think Blake Corum should be anywhere near your lineup if, Jacoby Brissett, if Kyron is healthy. So for me, I look at stashes as the way of I'm holding a guy that, could win me my league if something happens ahead of him. So I would rather hold Blake Corum. But if you're just looking for, hey, I want someone that I could potentially play in a pickle, it would be Chase Brown. But for me, I'm not Chase Brown. It would be Chris Rodriguez. I would rather hold Blake Corum. Trey Tucker, Jerry Jeudy, or Darius Slayton in the flex. Great question. I would go Trey Tucker. I don't like the matchup for Trey Tucker, but what I do like about Trey Tucker is that we've seen the booms happen before, and this should be a competitive enough game to where, Geno doesn't throw 80 picks. I would think, right? Where the game is kind of just over before it even started, and, there's nothing they could really do. And it almost kind of like, if you guys have watched Raiders games this year, at a certain point in the game, it almost, to me, as an outsider looking in, seems like they just give up, right? They seem like they have no way to get into the game, no will, no way, and they just fucking call uncle, they tap out. I don't think that will happen here, so I would go Trey Tucker. Jerry Jeudy, I think, should have a decent game, but I just don't trust him as much as I trust Trey Tucker, so I go Trey Tucker. Tito's ex-wife, thank you for the super chat. Booyaka. Browns or Raiders defense, both seem good. I agree with you. I would go with the Browns defense. Why? Because I just think the Browns defense is better, right? And while I don't think Shedeur is going to go out there and ball out, I think there's a much higher likelihood that Shedeur goes out there and balls out compared to Geno, right? I think it's more likely that Shedeur magically channels something inside of him and actually has a good game compared to the likelihood that Geno does that, right? The Browns defense suffocates Lamar Jackson last week. And Lamar Jackson is 9,000 times better than Geno Smith. Obviously, it's a division game, and division games are always tough. But, for me, I would much rather play the Browns defense. And again, I have the Raiders as a basically must-start defense too. So hopefully what I just said doesn't deter anyone from playing the Raiders defense. You still want to play the Raiders defense, but I definitely would prefer on my fantasy team to have the Browns defense. JL Machado, thank you for the super chat. Drop Otten for Loveland. 1 IR stash, Reed or Waller. Man, look, Reed, I love Reed. I have been a Jaden Riley Reed truther since Jump Street. To me, though, realistically, how often do you think you will feel confident enough to play Jaden Reed? Now, I understand. Jaden Reed, any given game, regardless of if it's the best matchup, the worst matchup, I could see him scoring 25 plus fantasy points because of his speed and all that. But how likely are you to ever actually feel good enough to put him in your lineup, right? And the answer to that's going to be very low. Whereas Waller, he's banged up and will have better reporting next week. If Waller is healthy, Waller can be a difference maker on your fantasy team. So for me, I would rather stash Waller because you will actually feel good about playing Waller. You will never feel good about playing Reed. And a lot of the time, you'll think you'll have. I've been a Reed owner in the past. You will think you've cracked the code. You will think you figured out the Da Vinci's code. You figured it out. You're a genius. Oh my God, this is the matchup where he goes crazy. And then he sucks. And then he plays up against the fucking 85 Bears and he scores 40 fantasy points. I don't want anything to do with that. I'd rather have Waller. And I'd prefer Otton over Loveland. Why? Because if you're going to pick up Darren Waller, if Darren Waller comes back, once Evans comes back, you will just be able to play Waller. Loveland, to me, seems like you're waving the white flag at tight end. I said that in a video this week. What I mean by that is he feels like, hey, he's going to get me 7 to 10 points. That's fine, right? But he doesn't feel like the kind of guy that really has that huge upside with Kmet healthy. Now, if Kmet gets whacked out, then obviously I'm singing a different tune. But for me, I would prefer to have Otton. So Otton and Waller. Lance, thank you for the super chat. Lance here, sorry. Is it Lance here? Is it Lance? Sorry if I got that wrong. Thank you for the super chat. PPR need upside. Michael Wilson, Swift, or Tyler Warren. The most upside is Michael Wilson. The most upside is Michael Wilson. I mean, he is clearly the best wide receiver on his team, and they are going to feed him the ball. Now, again, do I expect what we saw last week? No. Do I think he has that in him? Yes. Do I expect it? Obviously not. Swift, I think, does have big upside, but the problem is if Kyle Monunga is going to keep vulturing touchdowns, his upside is slightly capped by that. I'm not saying, oh, DeAndre Swift's a shitty start. No, I'm not saying that, but I also don't love him as much. So for me, if it's my team, I want Michael Wilson. So that'd be my answer. If I had to rank them, it would be Michael Wilson, Swift, and Warren in terms of upside. XDJ, thank you for the super chat. PPR pick 2, and we have to go faster at this point. Tracy, Sean Tucker, Trey Tucker, Watson. Great question. For me, man, that's a good question. That is a good question. All right. Sean Tucker, I think, has to go in. He has a brutal matchup. But in fantasy, you don't watch a motherfucker score 3 touchdowns and then sit him. Especially for the options that you have here. So, sure, my trust level is definitely not at its peak. If you're playing him, then Trey Tucker or Watson for me would be the other part of the question. Trey Tucker 30, Watson 26. I'm gonna go Watson. We're gonna go Watson and Sean Tucker. That's how I feel. You could go with the Tucker brothers, but I'd go Sean Tucker again. The matchup sucks, but you can't have seen what you saw last week and then sit the guy. And then Watson, he had 2 touchdowns last week. He's not the safest bet, but the upside's there. So I'm going Watson and Tucker. Tito's ex-wife again. Thank you for the super chat. Kamara, Swift, Genty, or Montgomery? Great question. Swift is definitely one of the answers there. Well, I didn't answer him as the answer before. He's still a guy that flirts as a top 12 option. He gets a decent amount of targets. His biggest problem is, can he get the touchdowns, right? If they get to the goal line, are they going to give him the ball or are they going to fucking shaft him like they did last week? That's over the last few weeks, right? That's really just the question at hand. But even with that being a question mark, I still think you have to start Swift. And then Genty, Montgomery, or Kamara. I would just go with Genty because, again, I think it will be a competitive game and he will be able to run the ball. So, Genty, while he did fuck you last week, Genty and Swift for me. I know a lot of people are hopping on the Kamara bandwagon after one great game. That's not a huge needle mover for me, especially, like, look, if I was someone that was talking up Tyler Shuck all summer, was a Tyler Shuck believer, and Tyler Shuck had that game that he had prior to the bye, yeah, I would be much more likely to bang the drum for Kamara. But because I wasn't high on him entering into the season, I don't think one great game from Tyler Shuck should change my opinion. So, fuck. I just messed that up. So yeah, for me, I would be sitting Kamara in their scenario. So it'd be Swift and Genty. Thank you for the super chat. I didn't mess up what I was saying to you. I messed up what I was typing on my computer. All right. Henry, thank you for the super chat. T. Higgins or Diggs? Great question. So T. Higgins is going to have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. He's going to have Gonzalez on him. It's bad. But T. Higgins should get fed, which is good. Diggs, dude, it's all over the place. Like, again, I wish the team would just fucking feed Diggs every week and I could come on here full-throatedly, which is for some reason a weird saying, and just be like, oh man, I fucking love Diggs because, oh my gosh, so many targets he's getting. Like, they spread the ball around a bunch and Boutte is back. But man, Diggs looked so good last week. Diggs has looked good in back-to-back weeks. I just think Diggs has earned his right, his stripes as the clear wide receiver one on this team. He's clearly the best wide receiver on this team. It's not even debatable. So I would go Diggs. I just like his matchup better. So I'm going Diggs. Flacco or Shuck? Great question. Yeah, man. Flacco sucked ass last week, but I like him better this week. Again, he doesn't have Jamar Chase, which sucks. But I said it all last week. Flacco was bound to eventually shit the bed. Like, it was just going to happen. It was always going to happen. It was in the ancient text. It was bound to happen that he was going to completely screw the pooch. Anyone that's watched Flacco over the last few years knew that was bound to happen eventually. Now, I didn't think it would happen in that game, but it was bound to happen. Bound to falling in love, right? It was bound to occur. I think he bounces back, and I still don't trust Chuck, so I'd go Flacco. Greetings. Greetings, loved ones. Let's take a journey. That's the beginning of that Katy Perry song. I know a place where the grass is really greener. Okay. Greetings. Need 2 wide receivers, 1 flex, 1 running back. Sean Tucker, Genty, Judkins. He's got Chase Brown. I almost called him Chris Brown. Rico. He's got Jay Jettas. He's got Devontae. He's got Ibuka. Also, should I play Mayfield or Purdy at the quarterback? Thanks. Great question. What the actual fuck? This is a very difficult question. Because once again, we have someone that knows how to draft. Because there's something in the water. All right. So, we're going to type this one out. Wesley's got a great team here. You're not sitting Rico. Rico is unsittable. And I'm not sitting Sean Tucker. I hate the matchup. I don't think he's going to have the greatest game, but I'm not fucking sitting him because, again, if you watch the guy go for 3 touchdowns last week on your bench, obviously, like, who the fuck was starting him? And then you go to sit him again and he does the same thing, you're going to feel like a straight up buffoon. And I think Sean Tucker could run well even against a tougher Rams defense. So, Sean Tucker and Rico, you got to play him. You got to play him. You got to play him. At wide receiver, you're not sitting Justin Jefferson, and you're not sitting Ibuka. You're not sitting Devon. Oh, fuck, that's Devontae Smith, not Devontae Adams. It would have been way easier if it was Devontae Adams. Chase Brown, Judkins, Devontae Smith. Man, this ain't my dad. This is a cell phone. I'm going Judkins. Rico, Sean Tucker, Jefferson, Ibuka, Judkins. Lock it in, and we're going with Big Cock Brock Purdy. That was tough. That was very tough. That was a mental battle. If you want to go Chase Brown over Judkins, I have them ranked back-to-back. The rest of that is definitive, though. Definitive. Thank you for the super chat. That was tough. Again, when people have such good teams, it's almost a blessing and a curse, right? Obviously, having a great team is amazing, but that's tough. That is tough. And that's why I really enjoy playing in leagues where, there's 3 wide receivers, 2 flex spots. There's a lot of guys you can start because it does suck when your team is fucking loaded to the gills and then you get to Sunday and you can't even start all your players. Especially like 2 running backs, 2 wide receivers, 1 flex. It just always hurts your soul. It always hurts your soul. No, you won't break my soul. All right. Thank you for the super chat. Next super chat is from Shane. Thank you for the super chat. Javante, Rome, or Pittman? Another question that is mind-breaking. Another question that is uber difficulte. Muy difficult. Muy facile. Is that what that means? Is facile difficult? Facile meaning Spanish? Oh, facile is easy. What is difficult? Ah, difficile. Difficile. Javante, Rome, or Pittman? I'm going Javante. Going Javante. I don't want to. I don't love Javante against. I mean, I don't love the matchup, but Javante played really well against the Eagles earlier on in the season. Again, the Dallas Cowboys play amazing at home. I would go ahead and play Javante. It's tough. It's tough. It's tough. It's tough because Pittman has been so good. The upside is there. But man. I don't think I can do it in this scenario. I think you just have to play Javante. Javante has been super reliable for you this season. Dominated the Eagles last time out. I gotta go Javante. Even though my brain wants me to go Pittman, even though my heart kind of wants Pittman, I think the smart move would be Javante. So that's how I'm gonna go Javante. Wilson or Judkins. Look, I have Wilson ranked 23. I have Judkins ranked 16. I'm a little bit lower on Wilson than consensus, just really because I don't really see Wilson exploding. I just don't see Wilson having the type of game where it wins your week. I could see Judkins doing that. I could see Shedeur checking the ball down to him a million times. I could see him being the reason why the Browns win. I think Emmanuel Wilson gets his touchdown and he gets out of there. He has a decent game, nothing to write home about, but decent. Whereas I could see Judkins exploding, so I would go Judkins. Flex spot, Tootin, Parker Washington, or Juwan Johnson. I would go Juwan Johnson. Williams or Brissett? Brissett. Igbuka or Parker Igbuka. Unless you meant Tez. Like Tez Johnson, I'd go Tez. Wandale or Kamara. And do I pick up Quentin Johnson or Waller since he has a great rest of season schedule if healthy? I think I would prefer to have Waller and and Wandale. Smash the like button for Nick. On my way to a rainy Cardinals tailgate to watch the Jags ruin us. Fire Gannon. Fire Petsing. Sell the team. See ya, Ben. Have a good time at the game. As good of a time as you can have. At least, honestly, as sad as this may sound as a fan of a team that also sucks, at least the Cardinals have a fun offense, in the second half of the game. I know that sounds sad. And it is sad, but at least at some point in the game, you will score points, right? Like, I've been a fan of the Dolphins where, like last year, like when Tua's been hurt, they just don't score. And it's so fucking boring. Like, at least you don't have Kyler, and they're able to move the ball. Like, at least you have that saving grace. They can move the ball. Just make sure there's no more super chats. Question in chat. Thank you. We buy homes near you. Dak or Danny Dimes, then need 3 out of Rice, T. Higgins, Henderson, Igbuka, Diggs, Jay Jettas. Appreciate you, Nick. I appreciate you too. Thank you. So for me, man, Justin Jefferson is unsittable. It sucks because we don't trust JJ McCarthy. No one trusts JJ McCarthy. I get that, right? I'm not going to sit here and fucking lie straight to your face and be like, oh yeah, man, I really love JJ McCarthy. Man, JJ McCarthy is actually really underrated. No one in the right fucking mind is saying that. But what I will say is I do trust Justin Jefferson. Like, I trust the player. I still think he's great. I just don't think you can sit him. I think you will feel so stupid if you sit him. And I know that's like a bad argument in a way, but it's true. You will be so mad if he scores multiple touchdowns because he can. Regardless of how good or bad the quarterback play is, he could find the end zone. He has a nose for the end zone. You're not sitting him. Just like you're not sitting Rashee Rice in the highest scoring game of the week. I know, Nick, Rashee Rice played really bad against the Broncos. Yeah, there's a big difference in the matchup, though, going up against the Colts compared to the Vikings. So I definitely am not sitting Rashee Rice. Then after that, I'm playing Henderson because I am not sitting Henderson up against the Bengals. So Rashee Rice, Jay Jettas, and Henderson. And then at quarterback, I'm going Dak. Now, I will note, if you want to be safe, you would play Daniel Jones. Because the odds of Daniel Jones completely shitting the bed and fucking you over, in my opinion, is low. The odds of Dak doing the exact same thing is much higher, right? Him completely screwing you is much higher. So, if it's my team, I'm going Dakota Prescott, and I'm going Rashee Rice, Henderson, and Justin Jefferson. That is how I will go this week. So, that's how we're rocking. Stop spamming facts. Factual. All right. Need a running back and a flex. Full PPR. Dortch, Sharps, Bam Knight, Burden. I'd go Bam and I'd go Dortch. Good morning. Good morning to you. Good morning, USA. And I would go Sean Tucker if you want to be safe, Emmanuel Wilson. Hey, Nick, I have no other options. Do I drop Bo Nix, Kincaid, or BTJ to play defense this week? Oh, dude, if you need to win, you have to drop someone. I'm dropping Kincaid. Flex spot, Tootin, Parker Washington, or Juwan Johnson. I think I'd go Parker Washington. Wandale, Adunze, or Pittman in the Gilly. I'm going Pittman. Don't be silly. Grab the Gilly. Dimes, Bijan, Cook. One second, guys. I'm just answering a Patreon question. Dimes, Bijan, Cook. Dunze, Dobbs. Who actually is Brissett? So we'll go Brissett over Dimes. See, I would put these questions on the screen, but it has people's real names. I don't want to, dox Samuel. His last name, obviously. Because there's a picture of him, too. Even though it's not technically doxing, you get the point, though. Lions, McLaughlin. All right. Just make sure there's no more super chats. There's 2 more. S-Box, thank you for the super chat. What's up, man? Question in chat. Full PPR league. Thank you for the super chat from 1232. I don't see your question. Can you drop it in chat again? I'm sorry. I hate that YouTube does this shit. YouTube. All right, I'm going to answer S-Box. Make sure you put your question in chat. And if that doesn't work, let me know if it's just not posting. Linton Mayer, thank you for the super chat. Roderick Stevenson or Flowers. I'm going to keep it 100 with you guys. I would not be surprised at all if we fast forward to the end of today's games and Ramondre Stevenson has a top 12 showing. Do I think that is very likely? No. Would I be surprised? Also, no. Why would I not be surprised? Because Mike Vrabel, I think, hates us. But I'm not playing Ramondre Stevenson. I'm playing Zay Flowers. Zay Flowers, it's shocking this year because Zay Flowers has a very safe floor. And that's actually just something that has been the complete opposite for his whole career. He's been a guy that's just largely boom or bust. And a lot of the times we are getting the bust. But this year he's been very safe. I would go Flowers for me. Flowers. And S-Box, if it's not letting you send the question in the chat, I'm trying to find your question. S-Box. Let me know if you see it. No, I don't see it. Are you typing any question, are you putting any apostrophe or anything in there? If it didn't work, I'm literally just gonna send you my email in chat. You can just email me the question, or you can DM it to me on Twitter. Do you have Twitter, Instagram, or email? What's easier for you? And I obviously won't show your email or your Twitter handle or anything on here. Obviously, I would never show someone's fucking email on here. Hey Goat, who to flex, Rome or Ricky P? Full PPR. Thank you, Almighty Howard. How you doing, man? For me, it's a very, it's an easy question because while I really, 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 really love Ricky Pearsall, I am the number one Ricky Pearsall lover. I love a dude who gets shot, you know, because he was trying to fight back for his Rolex, and he lived, through the Rolex. He lived through it, and he's a great guy. He seems like a nice guy, but I still think they're trying to use the slow roll with him. Like, I would be shocked if they truly fed him this week. I think you're going to slowly see him get upticked, and then once he hits that, that safe floor of snaps, the targets, then you'll feel very good about playing Ricky Pearsall. But that's just not this week, if I'm being honest with you. So for me, I would go with Rome. I just feel way better about Rome Odunze. So I'm going to go Rome. And then Fruit Punch, thank you for the super chat. Rank Hall, Brown, ETN, Swift, and Judkins. Thank you, Goat. Thank you, too. I appreciate you. Half PPR you want? So my rankings in half PPR. So I have Chase. Okay. You have. Okay, I'm just going to type it out. And then we'll do it that way. It'll be way easier. Okay, so I have Judkins. All right, wait. Hall, Brown, ETN, Swift, Judkins. Thank you, Goat. Okay. So I have ETN the highest at 12. So my RB 12 is ETN. My RB 13 is Swift. Who else are we looking for? Chase Brown is my RB 17. 17 is Brown. 16 is Judkins. And Reese is 19. So in half PPR, I've got an ETN 12, Swift is 13, 16 is Judkins, 17 Chase Brown, 19 Reese Hall. That is your answer to the equation. Thank you for the super chat. And S-Box, please let me know. If you can't get it in the chat, which again, it's not your fault. I'm not blaming you. YouTube is just like that sometimes. Just let me know if you have Instagram, Twitter, or if you just want my email. And I'll just type my email in chat and you can send it that way. It's not your fault though. It's literally strictly on YouTube. They always do that shit. They once a week, it's like basically a virtual guarantee that someone's question will not work. It is a guarantee. It is a guarantee mortal lock of the century. I have Bowers, McBride, Jennings, Michael Wilson, Jameson Williams. I have to bench one. Yeah, I'm benching. That's a great question. Man, I don't think I'm benching Bowers. I'm going to be honest with you. Like, I understand Bowers is hit or miss strictly because of his quarterback, right? And Bowers is amazing. Bowers is amazing. He's one of the best tight ends in the NFL. And I see that now, Spox. I'm going to get that. He is, in my opinion, I think between him and McBride, it's basically a toss-up on who the best tight end is in the NFL. Maybe some of you guys think it's Tyler Warren. I don't know. But to me, I think it's pretty clearly one of those two guys. So I would be unable to sit Bowers. And I agree with the chat. It's Jennings. Jennings is the guy you're going to sit. I don't think you can sit Michael Wilson after getting 18 targets. I just don't think you can. I really, 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 really don't think you can. I get why, people will be pessimistic about him, Michael Wilson, right? How could he possibly get that many targets again? Don't argue with me about it. I don't know if he's going to get, I don't think he's going to get fucking 18 targets again, but I think he's going to get fed. And look, if they start upticking Ricky more, which I think is possible, again, I think they're going to keep giving more and more and more and more work to Ricky. You're going to see the touches of, Juwan Jennings basically be leaned back. So for me, the guy to sit is Juwan Jennings. You're not sitting J-Mo. You're not sitting Michael Wilson. You're not sitting McBride. You're not sitting Bauer. So you have to sit Juwan Jennings. That's a great question. I'm sitting Juwan Jennings. S-Box, thank you again for the super chat. Washington or Monungai or pick up Watson in free agency. Yeah, I would pick up Watson and drop Washington. Look, I still believe in Parker Washington, but I'll be honest with you, that most recent game where he played amazing, he also got a kick return touchdown, which really helped boost him. And the fact that they're giving Jacoby Myers more looks, and I think, Jacoby Myers, I think, is severely underrated player. It just didn't work this year with Geno. For some reason, it did not work. They were not on the same page. It didn't work. So I definitely have Myers ranked way ahead of Washington. So I would prefer Christian Watson just because I think Christian Watson has, that weak winning upside, right? That, hey, score 2 touchdowns. Even if his target share isn't the highest and he may be risky because of that, he's still a phenomenal player with big touchdown upside without Tucker Kraft. So I would go Watson. Thank you for the super chat. Fruit punch again. Purdy. Can I drop Laporta? I don't think he'll be back. Yeah, I don't think Laporta's coming back either. Purdy, Jones, or Baker, Otten, or Andrews? Great question. Great question. So for the quarterbacks here, I have them ranked. Just pulling up the quarterback rankings. So I want to read off the exact rankings. I have Purdy 7. We got Daniel Jones at 10. Baker Mayfield 12. So all 3 guys are top 12. For most people, it's like a no-brainer. You have Baker, he goes in your lineup. You have Daniel Jones, he goes in your lineup. You have Purdy, he goes in your lineup. For you, I would go Brock Purdy. The Carolina Panthers defense genuinely is sneaky good. I'm not saying they're great. I'm not saying they're amazing. I'm saying they're sneaky good. I think a lot of people underestimate the Carolina Panthers defense. Again, I'm not acting like they're amazing, but I think they're a little bit underrated. But still, Brock Purdy looked incredible last week, which I was worried about. I was worried about, hey, Brock Purdy comes back. Maybe it's a slow start, right? I think that's a fair assessment to make when a guy misses so many fucking games and he has a toe injury. And to me, it seemed like he was going to miss last week too, based on everything that we read throughout the week. But yeah, I'm going 100% Purdy. And then Otten or Andrews. Man, if Andrews was getting 6+ targets a game, dude, I would be fucking sucking off Andrews, metaphorically, of course, right? We'd be talking up Andrews so heavily. I still love Andrews this week. I'm going to go Otten, though, just because I think they're going to have to throw the ball a ton in that game. I don't mind Andrews, obviously. He's still top 12 for me, but I'd go Otten and I'd go Purdy. Thank you for the super chat. And yeah, make sure you guys are in the Discord. Spock has linked it a few times. He always links it. Make sure you guys are in the Discord. I'm in the Discord during the primetime games, basically all the time. During the 1 o'clock slate, not as much. During the 4 o'clock slate, I'm also always in there. I will be stopping in, though. I do appreciate everyone that's in there, and it is very fun to talk to you guys. So, anyone who thinks, I avoid their comments, which I don't. I just click on comments randomly and answer them. I am always talking to people in the Discord. So, if you're someone that is in the Discord, you'll have a fun time in there. And everyone's very nice in there, which is shocking. It's not shocking that you guys are nice people, but it's shocking when you have as many people in there and no one, is fucking a crazy person, It's basically bound to happen when you have as many people as we have in there that someone's crazy. We still don't have a crazy person in there. Everyone's very nice. So make sure you guys are on the Discord. Yeah, we're at 295 people in there. Let's get to 300. Appreciate all you guys that are in there. Spock is always in there as well. And I'm in there too. Question below. We bleed blue. This is our cult. Whether win or lose, we love them. Question below. Yeah, I'm waiting for the question to drop in here. Yeah, the Discord is awesome. I agree with you. Everyone is very nice in there. And it's always funny. Everyone's always cheering for different things. People are getting mad because their fantasy teams, are just shit in the bed. It's a fun time. It's pretty funny, honestly. I love the Discord. Spock does a great job. Is that a computer thing? It is a computer thing technically, but you could also just get the app on your phone. Basically, what Discord is, think about like a group chat, but with 300 people in it. That's basically what it is. Or like it's like if anyone works like I don't even know, like an office job, I guess, and you have Slack and you talk to your coworkers on Slack or Teams. It's like that, basically. It's like a big Twitter group chat. I popped in on Thursday night to say F you to the Bills O-line for letting Josh Allen get gangbanged. I was happy watching that, to be honest with you. Drop your question in chat when you can. Unless it's not letting you send it too, which is, this will be a record 2 times that it doesn't let someone fucking send a question in chat because I don't see his question. We have 13 minutes, though, so we still have time. All right. Non-PPR, Andrews or Monungai. Andrews for me, again, just because the touchdown upside. I get Monungai has been scoring, but the odds that he continues that is so unlikely, man. The odds that Monungai keeps that up to me seems so unlikely. Tootin or Genty. Pollard or Goddard, I would go Goddard. Ferg or Otten, I would go Ferg. Ramondre, Sean Tucker, Devin Singletary, Kareem Hunt, Tyler Algier. I would go Tucker and Hunt. Kamara or Jalen Warren. Jalen Warren. Hey, I got a tough one. Sean Tucker, Metcalf, Jennings, or Mooney. I would go Tucker. One wide receiver, 2 flex. Pittman, Kamara, Tucker. Rico or Chase. Rico, Dobbs or Slayton. Dobbs. What's good, my boy? I think I asked on Thursday, but I can't remember. All good. Diggs or Aaron Jones. Diggs for me. Pollard or Goddard. I would go Goddard. T-Mac or Henderson. I would go Henderson. Rome or ETN. Jordan Mason or Monungai. Get CeeDee Lamb's my wide receiver 1. Pickens or Diggs. Mooney or Worthy. Jake Ferguson or Bam Knight. Ferguson. Nick, out of these 3, who would I sit and why? Sean Tucker, Devontae Smith, DK Metcalf, and Michael Wilson. I would sit DK because he's too up and down. Shuck or Young. I would go Young. Full PPR, Swift, Judkins, or Wandale. I would leave Wandale on. I would leave Judkins on the bench, actually. I would leave Judkins on the bench. Pollard or Goddard. Aaron Jones, Tracy, or Sharbs. Tracy. Raiders defense of the Bears. Raiders. And let's get it. Make sure you ask your question in chat. And if it doesn't work, let me know, because I will give you alternate ways to send me the question, because we only have 10 minutes left. And I feel bad if you super chatted and don't get your question answered. It makes me feel bad. Appreciate everyone stopping by the stream, by the way. It means the world to me. I say this all the time, but it truly is crazy that so many people watch these things. Truly is. Not because it's bad content. I actually think this is the most fun thing that I do every week, is, going on here and talking to you guys. But it is crazy, because I used to do these streams. There'd be like 5 people in here. And like at the beginning of the season, there's like 300 people in here, Swift or Bryce Young in the flex. You always got to go quarterback, Bryce Young. Butte or Worthy. Yep, 12 minutes left. I'd go Worthy. DK or Tucker. DK or Tucker. I would go Tucker. Or no, I'd go DK. Josh Allen ended up with -6 fantasy points this week. Am I cooked? No, you're not cooked, but that does suck. You're on the golf course right now. -4 through 7. Great success. Bryce Young, Shador, or Devontae Smith. Man. See, for me, Tyler, thanks for the super chat. I think it's basically impossible to sit a quarterback in Superflex leagues, because while Devontae Smith is a great player, Devontae Smith, his floor is way lower than even bad quarterback's floor. So while I don't love Bryce Young or Shador, right? Those guys are way safer in a Superflex league compared to playing Devontae Smith, especially. Now I get if like your Superflex is Jamar Chase. I know Jamar Chase isn't playing, but you get the point, right? Then sure, his floor is higher than those guys, right? But that's not who we're talking about, right? We're talking about Devontae Smith, whose floor is in the fucking basement. So for me, while I like Shador, I would rather just see him do it from my bench. I'm going to go Bryce Young. Even though I don't trust Bryce Young, deep down, I'm going Bryce Young. And please leave your question. Let's get it, because I don't want to get out of here without answering your question, and I'll feel like an asshole if I don't answer it. Let's get it. Hop out the 16 passenger. So yeah, I would go Bryce Young. Charbonnet, Pearsall, or Butte. I would go Butte. Would you drop Tez for Jaden Reed? I mean, no. I wouldn't. Because again, guys, I know a lot of people like Jaden Reed. I am number 1 Jaden Reed truther. And I don't think you will ever actually be able to trust Jaden Reed. Because I feel like deep down you can still trust Tez Johnson. But if you're looking for pure upside, sure. Like, it's fine. In my opinion, it's fine. 10-team Superflex league, you need one. I would go Winston. Montgomery or Tucker, I would go Tucker. Chase Brown or David Montgomery, I would go Chase Brown. Thank you for the super chat. Eric, Knight or Moore at the flex. I would go Bam Knight. Look, I think DJ Moore is basically dead for fantasy. Now, again, I'm willing to roll him out one last time this week in dire scenarios, like in the Yahoo Notorious Subscriber League. I have to play DJ Moore. My whole fucking team is on bye. I have to play DJ Moore. And I think on paper, he's still the wide receiver 2 on the team. But, like, that time is fading. Bam Knight is the RB1 without Amari DeMarcado until Trey McBride returns. So while Bam Knight is fucking disgusting, right? While you feel disgusting playing him, I think the smart move would be to just play Bam Knight. As gross as that sounds, as gross as Bam Knight may feel to your core, I think the smart move is to play Bam Knight. So that is how we're to go. Bam Knight. All right. And please, Miss Yora, let's get it. Please leave your question in the chat because we only have 6 minutes left. 6 minutes? Slim Shady on. All right. And then I'm gonna put my last DFS lineup in, and then we are going to spam answer questions. We're gonna go super fast mode like an old only use me blade video. Okay, wait. Drake May, Bijan, Chase Brown, Diggs, Metcalf, Michael Wilson, Kelsey. That's what I did wrong. That is what I did wrong, and I almost just fucked everything up. Almost just messed everything up. There we go. Now I just gotta pick one of these. Okay. Vaporous, thank you for the super chat. Should I start Henderson even though he may not start? Yeah, I'm playing him. You just have to. No problem. Let's get it. Yeah, I get what you're saying. You will feel an immense level of depression if you sit. If you sit Henderson. You just can't do it. You can't have watched see you, John. You can't have watched what happened last week and then sit him because you will just feel so bad about yourself. You will feel so stupid, and you'll feel like you just completely screwed yourself over, even though you didn't mean to, right? You will just feel sad. So for me, while I am a big, worrier, I'm the number one worrier about Ramondre Stevenson because Ramondre shafted us for years. For this whole season, I still would have to play. I would still have to play Henderson. I don't think you can sit him. I do not think you can sit him. So that's how I feel. Tucker going up against the Rams, number one rushing defense. I know. But again, I don't know how you can sit a guy that just scored 3 fucking touchdowns. Now, do I have him ranked as like a top 5 running back? No. And based on what the coaching staff said, they're trying to feed Sean Tucker. So we'll see. We will see. Jennings or Alec Pierce? I would go Alec Pierce. Worthy or Tootin Worthy? Start Zay Flowers or Michael Wilson? I would go Michael Wilson. Jake Ferguson or Gadsden? Rest of season, Ferguson. Make sure you get your question in. Because we do only have like 5 minutes left. All right. Pierce, Jalen Warren, or DK Metcalf? I would go Jalen Warren. Thank you, Spock, by the way, for answering all the questions in the chat. Make sure everyone is in the Discord too. I'm gonna link the Discord again. See ya, man. Start these 3 out of 4. Metcalf, Wilson, Devontae Smith, Sean Tucker. Must win week. Think of sitting DK or Tucker. I don't know, man. You gotta go Michael Wilson, Devontae Smith, and Sean Tucker. Start Butte or Pierce? Great question. Good luck to everyone this week. I agree, Brian. Good luck. Good luck. Good luck to everybody. There's the Discord link. Butte or Pierce? Pierce. Need some points. Josh Allen only gave me 7. Flex. I would flex ETN. Oh wait, you can only leave 2 on the bench. Okay. I am hurrying, bro. I'm benching Flowers and Wilson. Start 2. ETN, Chase Brown, JMO, Diggs, Judkins. I would start ETN and JMO. ETN and Diggs. Joey Ford, thank you for the super chat. Myers or Pearsall? I would go Myers again. I want Pearsall so badly to have a great game, but every single fucking time I think about Pearsall, I just keep thinking they're not going to feed him. They're not going to give him the touches that he deserves, and that scares me. They're not going all in. Just they're doing just the tip approach, so that scares me. So for that reason alone, it's got to be Jacoby Myers. Good luck, Kelly. Okay, so yeah, again, I would go Myers. Start 2, Justin Jefferson, Alex Pittman. I would go Pittman and Justin Jefferson. Need a flex, Njoku, Jordan Mason. Okay. I would go Spears. Spear. Good luck, everyone. Good luck. Emmanuel Wilson, Aaron Jones, or Genty. Emmanuel Wilson or Park Washington. Emmanuel Wilson. Emmanuel Wilson or Alec Pierce. Need a flex, Njoku. Oh, I already answered that one. ETN, Tucker Jones, Emmanuel Wilson. I would go with ETN and Emmanuel Wilson. Mahomes or Purdy. Mahomes. Wanda, Devontae Smith. No problem. Emmanuel Wilson. Swift. Oh my god, how many fucking bots are gonna be in this goddamn chat? Emmanuel Wilson, Swift, Chase Brown, or AJ Brown. I would go Swift. Purdy over Dak. It's fun. Would you start Chase Brown and JMO over Henderson and Henry? I would start JMO over Henry. Pierce or Dobbs? Pierce. And please, Monsieur, let's get it. Get your question at the chat in the next minute. So I can answer it. If not, I'll just get you next week. And I'll send you my email or something, so you just email me the question, and I'll answer it. And make sure you guys do hit that like button. All right, I gotta check all my lineups really quick, just to make sure I have everyone in correctly. So I worry about all your guys' teams. Don't even look at my own. Yeah, man, I gotta start fucking Jordan Mason in this league. So cooked. Smash that like button, facts. Yeah, make sure you guys check out Underdog too. Let's go to week 12. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. All right, this looks good too. I mean, some of these leagues, I'm fighting for my fucking life here. Need a win. Really, just one league I need a win in. All the other ones kind of just is what it is. Either it'll work or it won't work. But that's the hope here. That is the hope here. Good luck to everybody. Smash that like button. Facts. Smash that like button. All right. Good luck to everybody. Good luck, fellas. Good luck. Let's go, Pats. I put my question a few times up there. Maybe it just didn't show. Yeah, it didn't work. It's because of YouTube. So, here, I'm gonna send you my email, and I'm gonna get you a way to ask you a question next week for free. I really apologize. I don't know why the fuck YouTube does that. So here's my email. Just email me, and then we'll talk on there. So I do apologize. Sorry. There's really nothing I can do because YouTube is fucking stupid. Sometimes I love YouTube, but it's super stupid sometimes. It's not your fault, just so you know. It happens at least once or twice a stream where someone gets shafted like that, and we always resolve it. So I do apologize. It's not your fault. And it's no problem, Joey. It's no problem. I appreciate you guys. Have a good one, guys. Thank you again to Spock. Thank you to all the mods. I appreciate you guys. Best of luck. I'll be in the Discord throughout the game. That's my email, by the way, so you can just email me there. Good luck, everybody. I threw the Discord link in the chat again, so make sure you guys are in there. Have a good one. Love you guys a long time. And appreciate you guys. See you, Brian. Thank you guys for stopping by today. And I think we actually had, this is like a record stream. We haven't had a stream do this well in weeks. So it's fucking awesome. So thank you guys. Whee!